Hello and welcome to my channel. This video today is aimed primarily at those ScanNCut users who are new to the machine, and also to perhaps those of you who might not have used your machine in quite a while and you just need a bit of a refresher. It also is in response to a query I had from a new ScanNCut user, and congratulations by the way, and it's about cutting out different files that you send from Canvas Workspace to your machine. How do you handle those when you send it to the machine? So I'm going to show you a couple of things. One here on the Canvas Workspace artboard or mat, and then on the machine itself. So if you want to learn how this is all done, then stick with me and I'll show you how. We're in Brother Canvas Workspace, and this is the download version. And the first thing I'm going to do is to bring in a cutting file. And I've got one here from my scrap chick. In fact, this is one of the first files I ever purchased, and this is called Cat's Life. And I'm going to choose Positivity. Then I'll go back into that same file, and here are some JPEG files so that I can get a picture of what I'm going to be creating. So this is what we're creating. This is not for cutting. This is only for viewing on screen. So that's our little kit that we're going to be making. Now these are the actual white pieces. So it doesn't really matter what color we have on here. We know that those represent those pieces there. They've just made them blue, probably because that was maybe in their program, so maybe they didn't want it white so that it would stand out more and be, recognizable. So we've got white, which are all these pieces here. So they're on the tail, here on the face, on the belly, and on the paws here, as well as the white here for the eyes. Then we have a group here, which is in pink for the pads on the cat's feet and the ears, as well as the collar. And you don't have to have that color. You could have that maybe a green, for example. You do that. You can change these to whatever you like. Then we've got the little disc here, the ID, and we have the nose, the black part of the eyes, and then we have this, which is going to go behind the disc. So it's going to be the shadow part of the disc. Now, as you can see, this file has been created so that it has been separated and broken down into colors, or at least for the purpose of recreating this. That's how these are being broken down, which you can do. You can just send this entire file as it is right now to your machine, load your paper up, scan it in, and then make sure that each of these pieces fit over your cardstock or your paper. You could maybe just place this up here if you knew you had a piece that was going to accommodate all those. Might move this one down just a little bit, and then maybe take the black pieces here. Maybe you've got just a little piece of the gray that you want there, and then you can have your other pieces wherever you like. And then, as you can see here, you've got room to add more if you like. So if you wanted to perhaps add a sentiment to this, we might have something like this, a door, which you could bring in. So you could have this, either you could cut that out, or perhaps you would like to draw that. And also be able to cut it out, just bringing in another shape. Let's try this one. And what I would do here is align these to the center in the middle of it as well. There we are. And then you can adjust the size on that however you like. So this will be a cut file, which we could give some color to that. Send it to the back. And then on top here is the word that we're going to be cutting out, the adore. To have it cut out, so we just go up to File and export it. And you see this warning message that image data will not be exported or transferred with the cut data. And that is that cat that we had here. So just say OK. And now we can transfer that to the machine. And then I'll show you how you can make any further adjustments to this in order to use multiple pieces of card onto one mat. Be able to cut all of these out. Let's zoom here. So that did not transfer this. This is not a cutting file. That's just for reference purposes. So, right. So I'm going to go to the machine and we'll get this cat cut out. I've loaded this rather used mat, as you can see, with scraps that I'm going to use to cut out this cat. So I've got pieces for the body, for the fur, the paws, for the paw pads, and also for the collar. I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then I've got the black as well. So now between sending this to the machine and actually coming upstairs to cut this out, I can't remember exactly where the pieces were laid out, but that's not a problem because I'm going to show you in just a moment when we go over to the machine how you easily rectify that. So bear with me a moment. I'll have to reset the camera. I'm not ideally set up for that at the moment with my machine, so I'll be right back. Hope you can see the screen now, and I've loaded my mat into the machine, and now we're ready to retrieve the file. So we go to retrieve data, and then this is the wireless connection here. There are all our pieces that we've sent over. Now I've decided I'm not going to go ahead and do this one here. I'm going to edit and delete that. Right, so I've just put it into the bin there. Now the other pieces I need to position onto my cardstock. So because this is a scan, of course, and cut machine, it has the scanning ability so that you can place these shapes anywhere you like onto the mat. In order to do that, we're going to click OK, and when you see this menu come up with Add, Edit, and then you see this thing here, which is the scanner. It looks a bit like an oven, but we're going to press that, scan and show as a background, and put the material to scan on the mat and set it to the machine, and then press start, and it's going to scan it. And then on the screen, you'll see the various pieces of cardstock. Now, if you click on this little spanner here, or wrench, the background, that shows it bright. This dims it. So that works especially for things like very, very dark colors, or the black indeed, or you can just turn off the background altogether. But we're going to place it onto the bright side first. So we've got the pieces here, and we need to shift them about. Now here's my black cardstock, which I'm going to use for the eyes and the nose, and there's a couple other bits as well. This is going to be for the paw pads and for the ears, as well as the collar, or we could make the collar out of this if we like. But let me show you how you're going to move these about. Go to Edit, and as you'll see here, you can actually zoom in. You can zoom in up to 400% actually, and you can see where everything is at the moment. So now we can start moving these where we want them to cut. If you use the arrows, it will go up, down, or of course to the side. If you use these ones here, look like little chevrons, that actually just moves where the mat for you. So we can place that one there. We could have one of the paws, those are the feet. We could take this and we could actually rotate that if we want to, but let's see if there's someplace better for it. There's our collar. We could take that and maybe move that up. Take this away, move that. I have a bit of a problem with my screen sometimes. The sensitivity is off, so I've got to work on that. So I may just have to use some of these other arrows. Just move that out of the way. Trying to grab that there. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's go back and we'll select it. Let's go here. There we are. Now we can move that maybe up here somewhere. Let's take a look. This essentially is how you place your shapes. We could cut that out there, and then we have that piece, which I can move up there. I can move this here. And this one can come here. Then I have this other piece. As I said, I could have that one going like that, or I could flip it. I've got the tail, which I think I'll just put down here in this piece. Okay, now let's look over here. We've got the pads. Bring those onto the mat. You can space them out. Right, now all the pieces are in place, and if I just click on the spanner again and click on the lighter, you can see they are there on the black as well. So now this is ready to cut out, and you're just bringing everything onto one mat, but placing your various cardstock, and then scanning and placing your objects on, or your shapes on top of the pieces. So that's all ready to cut. Now to cut this, I'm going to click OK, OK, select, cut, and then we'll start. And this is going to take about 2 minutes. It could be a little less than 2 minutes, but because this cuts, it shows you in 1 minute increments. So it could be 1 minute and 3 seconds, and it would still show 2 minutes. So it's not going to be long though, regardless. So I'm going to finish cutting this out, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Right, everything is cut and ready to be removed. And I'm just going to start lifting these pieces off. Now, one of the best ways to get these off is to actually bend your mat like so, and you'll see they start to lift up, or they'll make it easier because it gets a bit of space and I guess air in between there, and then you can get these off, or you might use a scraper if you need to, but usually you'll be able to just lift them like so. Okay. I'm going to get all these off, and then I'll be right back. I've got this pre-made card blank, which I've just matted with some of this green paper, and then I'm going to start putting my cat in place. Now, it's probably a good idea if you had either a photo of what you're putting together when you have all these little pieces, or perhaps even a little sketch. I made myself just a little naive sketch so I would know approximately where things were going to go. So I'm going to lay this out. mostly the basic pieces here. I've got one that I'm missing. I need to find, oh, here it is. This is the little arm. There's the collar. So I'm going to assemble this, and then I'll be back to show you how this looks when it's together. I finished putting the cat together, and I made a couple of changes. You'll see here the collar, because I'd made it out of the same cardstock as this, was just disappearing, so I just put a little bit of alcohol marker on there, and I added a little gemstone here, and I've also got this piece of black which I'm going to place on top because I think that will help it to pop off the page a bit. I'm going to round the corners on this. Okay, and then that is just going to go into the middle like so. Nearly finished. Alright. Okay, and then we'll put our little kitten here. Now, we could, in fact, put this on some dimensional. Let's get some foam pads. Okay, I've got this black foam tape I can put on here. And I have this little sticker here that says, "Get it, girl." I'm going to place down here. So, there we are. We could put maybe a bow or something in there if you wanted to. It would be up to you, of course. So, there we have our cat cut from an SVG file, which has then been converted into an FCM file, sent to our machine, placed onto the mat, and the cardstock is placed, and then the images or the shapes go on top of that by way of the scanner. So now before I go, I'm going to show you one last thing here with cutting multiple shapes from one mat, or if you, well, just watch and I'll show you what I mean. It's a little hard to explain, but I'm going to bring up the screen again with our cat pieces in place. I'm back at the machine, and as you can see here, we have the pieces that we cut out before for the cat, and I've brought this in from a saved file so that I can show you. If you wanted to, you could divide this into two different mats, and my purpose here is so that I can make multiple copies of these pieces here, because I want this all cut out of the same color stock, and I want to use a 12 by 12, and I want to make multiple copies because I don't want to just have one card. I want to have many different cards. So how I can do this is, first of all, I'll go to Edit, and the three boxes or the grouping, and I'm going to isolate the screen here, and now you should see those all turn red. That means they're all going to be treated in the same way, whatever I do next. So if I go OK, click the bin, and it's going to delete them. So all those are gone now. So what I do now is I'm going to group these together. I'm going to go to Object Edit, to the Group key, and now as you can see it's just one object. Even though it's got different pieces in it, it has a bounding box around it, that red bounding box that's going to treat this as one piece. So now I can multiply it, and I'll go with 4. We'll see how that's going to work out. So we'll go to OK, OK again, and I'm going to let the machine lay it out for me in the most efficient way and see if I've got enough room on the mat to cut all those pieces. And I do, as you can see. But it looks like I probably have enough room for more. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to add one more. And lay it out again. Only this time it tells me that I don't have enough space on this mat. So I need to check the pattern for the size and the spacing, so I may have to make some adjustments. So I know what I've got to do, because what it's doing is it is treating this as though this is just one piece, one object. So it's trying to lay that out here as that whole square bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it can't actually fit in a fifth. The way to get around that is that because everything is going to be in the same color, you can simply go to Edit and ungroup those. So now those are individual files, and I can go to another set, ungroup them, go to this one, ungroup that one, ungroup that one, and I can ungroup that one. Now I can go back to the layout and see if we get that same message. No, it's made it. So I have enough room there actually that I could probably have at least one more, possibly two, but definitely one more. But I'm just going to leave it at that. So now we go to OK, and we can cut this out now, or if we want to, we could save it as a mat. So we can save that, and we could send it through to PC. We could put it on a USB, or in my case, I'm going to put it onto the machine. And it's going to assign a name or a number to this. So it's number 185. Okay, and so it's saved. Now, when I'm ready to cut that out, let's just imagine that we've been working on something else. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to delete that off of the screen. It's only deleting those patterns off the screen. It's not actually deleting the data, just the patterns. So we can always go back and retrieve the original. So click OK, and now we're going to retrieve it from the machine. It was the last one, so we're going to hit that arrow there, and there it is. So we can bring it on the screen, click OK, and now we can continue on. So we could edit it further, or we could cut it out at this point. Now when you're ready to get rid of this altogether from your machine, you've cut out as many as you want, you know, you're finished with it, you don't really need it in there, you want to free up some space. What you need to do then is go back and retrieve it. And when it comes up here, you'll see the number for the file. So this is mat number 185. Click the bin here, and now it's asking, is it okay to delete the selected data? So it's not just the patterns, it's the incomplete data. So once you select OK, it's gone. If you don't want to do that, you're not sure, you can cancel, and then you can go to OK and go through the whole editing process again. But if you're ready to delete it, click OK, and as you'll see, it's gone from the machine. Now, remember we had that other piece? What I'm going to do there is I'm going to retrieve what we had before. So now we've got all those pieces again. Go to Edit, I'm going to group it, and I'm going to isolate that part of the mat. And now those are the red highlighted items, so we can click OK, put it in the bin, and now we can start working with these pieces. Now if they're all the same color, you can go through the same process, or of course you would be able then to perhaps divide these into different locations on the mat. Let's say you had white card over there and you're going to cut that out, and this is for maybe a gray or a black down here. You can divide those out as well. And that is all you need to do to take advantage of bringing one file with different files, many files in it, or one mat, and divide it up and then cut it out as different mats. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. And now I'm going to show you the completed card. Here is the completed card, and what I've done here is just add 3 of these little stick-on pearls, these flat back pearls, and there is our little cat card. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you have any suggestions for further tutorials or videos that you would like to see on Canvas Workspace or on the machine, I'm afraid I'm not ideally set up right now to film on my machine, but I can try to do a few things. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you would like to see more videos on various techniques, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have other ideas of videos that you would like to see, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do. I may or may not be able to do exactly what you would like, but if I can't, perhaps I can find someone else who could help you in any questions that you have. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed this and that you learned something. And if you would like to suggest other topics for these videos, then just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do. I'm not ideally set up camera-wise for my machine at the moment, but I will try to do my best. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so today, and if you are, thank you so much for your continued support. In the meantime, until we meet again, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.